Have you ever noticed how a single question, asked at the right moment, can completely shift your perspective? While most people spend their lives desperately searching for answers, the ancient Stoics understood something profound. It's the questions we ask ourselves that truly shape who we become. Welcome to Stoic Vivu, where we transform ancient wisdom into practical tools for modern life. Today, we're diving into 12 powerful questions that have guided emperors, philosophers, and everyday people for over 2,000 years. These aren't just philosophical musings. They're practical tools that can revolutionize how you approach every single day. Think about it. When was the last time someone gave you an answer that actually changed your life? Now compare that to a moment when someone asked you a question that made you stop, reflect, and see things differently. That's the power we're tapping into today. The Stoics, Marcus Aurelius writing in his tent during military campaigns, Seneca advising in the Roman court, Epictetus teaching from his humble school. All understood that wisdom doesn't come from memorizing answers. It comes from asking better questions. These philosophers faced the same fundamental challenges we face today. Difficult relationships, career pressures, financial stress, and the constant battle between who we are and who we want to be. What makes Stoic questions so powerful is their simplicity and directness. They cut through the noise of modern life and force us to confront what really matters. They don't let us hide behind excuses or get lost in overthinking. Instead, they demand honest self-examination and practical action. Throughout this video, we'll explore 12 questions that cover every aspect of your life. From the people you surround yourself with to the legacy you're building, from managing daily stress to finding your life's purpose. Each question is designed to be a tool you can use immediately, not someday, not when you have more time, but right now, today. These questions work because they align with how our minds naturally function. Instead of trying to force new beliefs or habits, they guide us to discover truths we already know but have been ignoring. They help us see clearly through the fog of daily distractions and social pressures. By the end of this video, you'll have a complete framework for living with intention, clarity, and purpose. You'll understand why Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the world, spent his mornings asking himself these very questions. You'll see why Seneca, despite his vast wealth, found true richness in this practice of self-inquiry. Most importantly, you'll discover how these ancient questions solve uniquely modern problems, from social media anxiety to career uncertainty, from relationship challenges to finding meaning in an increasingly chaotic world. So prepare yourself for a journey that's both challenging and transformative. These 12 questions aren't just words. They're keys that unlock a completely different way of living. Let's begin with the first question, one that might seem simple but carries profound implications for every aspect of your life. 1. Who are you spending your time with? The first question we need to contemplate is, who are you spending your time with? This question is not just about the people you socialize with. It dives deep into the fabric of your life and influences the very core of who you are. The Stoics recognized the immense power of our social circles, and the insights they shared are as relevant today as they were in ancient Rome. Seneca, one of the most prominent Stoic philosophers, famously stated, "Show me who you spend time with, and I will tell you who you are." This idea emphasizes that we are, in many ways, a reflection of the people we surround ourselves with. If you find yourself in the company of individuals who are negative, unambitious, or toxic, it's likely that their attitudes and behaviors will influence your own. Conversely, spending time with uplifting, driven, and positive people can propel you toward your goals and enhance your character. Consider this: every moment you spend with someone is a moment you could have spent with someone else. The question becomes not only who you are spending time with, but why you are choosing to spend time with them. Are these relationships enriching your life? Are they pushing you to be better? Or are they dragging you down? In modern urban settings, this question has profound implications. For example, imagine living in a bustling city like New York. The fast-paced environment creates countless opportunities to meet new people. However, it also means you must be discerning. Social media platforms amplify this challenge. You may follow hundreds of people, but how many of them truly inspire you? A like or a follow doesn't equate to a meaningful connection. It's essential to evaluate who you allow into your inner circle. A practical exercise you can undertake is to create a list of the people you spend the most time with: friends, colleagues, and even family members. Next to each name, write down how they influence your life. Do they bring joy and motivation, or do they drain your energy? Are they supportive, or do they undermine your ambitions? This exercise can illuminate patterns in your relationships and help you make more intentional choices about how you spend your time. Additionally, think about the power dynamics in your relationships. Are you the one doing all the giving? Are you the one always supporting others while your own needs go unmet? The Stoics encouraged balance in relationships. While it's noble to support others, it's equally important to ensure that your own needs are met. This balance fosters mutual growth and respect. Now, let's consider the impact of your social circles on your long-term goals. If your aspiration is to advance in your career, are you surrounding yourself with individuals who uplift you professionally? Networking with ambitious professionals can provide mentorship, guidance, and opportunities that are hard to come by when surrounded by those who lack similar aspirations. Picture a young professional in Los Angeles, dreaming of becoming a successful filmmaker. If they spend their evenings with friends who dismiss their ambitions, saying, "That's unrealistic," they may start to internalize those doubts. However, if they seek out mentors in the industry or engage with creative communities that encourage bold ideas, they can cultivate the mindset necessary to succeed. Furthermore, these relationships can shape your values and ethics. The Stoics believed that virtue is essential for living a good life. If your closest friends prioritize material success over integrity, it might skew your own values over time. Reflect on whether the people around you share your core values and beliefs. This alignment can create a supportive environment that reinforces your commitment to living virtuously. Additionally, consider the importance of setting boundaries. Just because someone has been in your life for a long time doesn't mean they need to remain there. Sometimes, it's necessary to distance yourself from those who no longer serve your growth. This can be a difficult but vital step in your personal development. As you navigate these relationships, remember the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, who advised, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This means recognizing that you have the power to choose who influences your thoughts and emotions. You can consciously select who you invite into your life. In conclusion, the question, "Who are you spending your time with?" is a profound inquiry that invites us to examine our relationships and their impact on our lives. By being intentional about the people we surround ourselves with, we can cultivate an environment that nurtures our ambitions, reinforces our values, and supports our personal growth. As we move forward, let's keep this principle in mind. The company you keep shapes your journey. Choose wisely. 2. Is this really in your control? The second transformative question comes from Epictetus, who began his life as a slave and became one of philosophy's greatest teachers. Is this really in your control? This single question forms the bedrock of Stoic philosophy and can instantly dissolve anxiety, frustration, and wasted energy from your life. Epictetus taught that everything in life falls into two categories: things that are up to us and things that are not. He declared, "Some things are within our power while others are not. Within our power are opinion, motivation, desire, aversion, and, in a word, whatever is of our own doing." This fundamental distinction, known as the dichotomy of control, serves as the most practical tool for navigating modern life's complexities. Let's make this concrete. You're stuck in Chicago traffic, already 20 minutes late for an important meeting. Your blood pressure rises, you grip the steering wheel tighter, and you feel that familiar surge of road rage. But pause and ask yourself, is this traffic in my control? The answer is obviously no. What is in your control? Your response to the situation. You can choose to call ahead, practice breathing exercises, or use the time to mentally prepare for your meeting. The traffic remains unchanged, but your experience of it transforms completely. This principle applies everywhere. Your boss's mood when they walk into the office? Not in your control. How you perform your work regardless of their mood? Completely in your control. The economy's impact on your investments? Beyond your control. Your decision to save money and invest wisely? Entirely within your power. Other people's opinions of you on social media? Outside your control. The quality of content you create and the integrity with which you present yourself. Absolutely in your control. Marcus Aurelius, while leading the Roman Empire through plague and war, wrote in his personal journal, "Confine yourself to the present." He understood that worrying about future events or dwelling on past mistakes only drains our energy from what we can actually influence right now. When you catch yourself spiraling into anxiety about tomorrow's presentation, stop and ask, what can I control right now? You can prepare thoroughly, get adequate rest, and practice your delivery. The audience's reaction tomorrow? That's their business, not yours. Consider a software developer in San Francisco facing a critical project deadline. The client keeps changing requirements, team members call in sick, and technical issues arise. Instead of panicking about everything going wrong, they apply the control question to each challenge. Changed requirements? Not in their control, but clearly communicating the impact on timeline is. Sick teammates? Not in their control, but reorganizing priorities and asking for help is. Technical glitches? Not in their control, but methodically troubleshooting and having backup plans is. This doesn't mean becoming passive or indifferent. Seneca reminds us, every new thing excites the mind, but a mind that seeks truth turns from the new to the old and finds peace. The Stoics weren't advocating for giving up. They were teaching us to invest our energy wisely. When you stop wasting mental and emotional resources on things beyond your influence, you suddenly have tremendous power to affect what you can actually change. The modern world constantly tempts us to violate this principle. News channels profit from making us worry about distant events we cannot influence. Social media algorithms feed us content designed to provoke reactions about situations beyond our control. Political discourse often focuses on blaming others rather than taking personal responsibility. Each time we engage with these distractions, we surrender our power to external forces. Here's a practical exercise. For 1 week, carry a small notebook or use your phone to track moments of stress or frustration. When you feel these emotions arising, pause and write down what's triggering them. Then honestly assess, is this in my control? You'll likely discover that 90% of your daily stresses come from trying to control the uncontrollable. The beauty of this practice lies in its immediate relief. The moment you truly accept that something isn't in your control, the weight lifts from your shoulders. You stop fighting reality and start working with it. This isn't resignation, it's strategic wisdom. By conserving your energy for battles you can actually win, you become far more effective in creating real change. As we transition to examining what your perfect day looks like, remember that designing an ideal life begins with focusing on what you can actually shape. The question of control isn't just philosophical theory. It's the practical foundation for building a life of purpose, peace, and genuine accomplishment. 3. What does your perfect day look like? Here's a question that might seem simple but carries profound implications for your entire life. What does your perfect day look like? Most people chase vague notions of success without ever defining what a truly fulfilling day would contain. The Stoics understood that a life well lived is nothing more than a series of days well spent. Marcus Aurelius, despite ruling an empire, began each morning with reflection and writing. In his meditations, he reminds himself, when you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. This wasn't pessimism, it was preparation. He designed his days around reality, not fantasy, understanding that perfection comes from how we respond to life, not from life being easy. Seneca wrote extensively about the architecture of a meaningful day. He advised, every night before going to sleep, we must ask ourselves, what weakness have I overcome today? What virtue have I acquired? This practice of daily design and review transforms random days into purposeful progress. He understood that without intentional structure, our days dissolve into reactions rather than actions. Let me paint a picture of how this applies today. A marketing executive in Manhattan wakes up at 5 a.m., not because she has to, but because she's designed her perfect day to include quiet morning hours. She exercises, reads philosophy, and plans her priorities before the city awakens. By the time she reaches her office, she's already accomplished more than most do all day. This isn't about becoming a morning person. It's about consciously crafting your time. Your perfect day isn't about luxury or ease. It's about alignment between your actions and values. A teacher in Houston might design her ideal day around meaningful interactions with students, time for personal learning, and evening walks with her family. A startup founder in Seattle might structure his day around deep work sessions, team collaboration, and time for strategic thinking. The specifics matter less than the intentionality. Consider this. If you don't know what your ideal day looks like, how can you make decisions that move you toward it? Every opportunity, every commitment, every yes or no should be evaluated against this vision. Does accepting this meeting move you closer to your ideal day or further from it? Does this new project align with how you want to spend your time, or does it scatter your energy? The Stoics weren't interested in perfect days filled with pleasure. Epictetus taught, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." Your perfect day should reflect what truly matters, not what society tells you should matter. Maybe it includes challenging work that engages your mind. Perhaps it features simple pleasures like cooking a meal or reading to your children. The key is that you've chosen these elements consciously. Here's where modern life sabotages us. We let others design our days. Employers dictate our schedules, social media algorithms determine what we see, and cultural expectations shape our activities. We wake up to notifications, rush through breakfast while checking emails, commute in frustration, work on others' priorities, return home exhausted, and collapse into passive entertainment. Then we wonder why life feels empty. Breaking this pattern requires courage and clarity. Start by writing out your current typical day in detail. Then write your ideal day, hour by hour. Where do they diverge? What small changes could bring them closer together? Maybe you can't quit your job tomorrow, but could you wake up 30 minutes earlier for reflection? Could you take a walking lunch instead of eating at your desk? Could you establish an evening routine that brings calm instead of chaos? Marcus Aurelius wrote, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being. What do I have to complain of? If I'm going to do what I was born for, the things I was brought into the world to do." Notice how he frames his day around purpose, not pleasure. Your perfect day should energize you with meaning, not sedate you with comfort. The process of designing your ideal day forces you to confront hard truths. If your perfect day doesn't include your current job, what's your plan? If it features more time with family but you're working 60-hour weeks, what needs to change? These questions demand honest answers and brave actions. As we prepare to explore whether you're chasing recognition or real impact, remember that your daily design reveals your true priorities. A perfect day aligned with your values becomes a compass for every decision, guiding you toward a life of intentional purpose rather than accidental drift. 4. Are you chasing recognition or real impact? This next question cuts straight to the heart of modern ambition. Are you chasing recognition or real impact? In our Instagram-filtered, LinkedIn-polished world, it's easy to confuse looking successful with actually making a difference. The Stoics had a clear answer about which path leads to a meaningful life. Marcus Aurelius, who could have built monuments to himself across the empire, wrote instead, "How much trouble he avoids who does not look to see what his neighbor says or does, but only to what he does himself." Despite being the most powerful man in the world, he focused on duty over glory, impact over image. His meditations weren't written for publication. They were private reflections on doing meaningful work without needing applause. Imagine a tech entrepreneur in Silicon Valley facing a crucial decision. She can pursue a flashy startup idea that will generate buzz and media coverage but offers little real value. Or she can work on a less glamorous project that genuinely solves problems for thousands of small businesses. The first path promises TED Talks and magazine covers. The second promises quiet satisfaction and real change. Which would you choose? Seneca understood this temptation intimately. As one of Rome's wealthiest men and Nero's advisor, he had every opportunity for self-promotion. Yet he wrote, Every man is in bondage to fear who depends upon the whims of fortune. When we chase recognition, we become slaves to others' opinions. When we pursue impact, we become masters of our own purpose. The modern workplace amplifies this dilemma. A middle manager in Chicago spends hours crafting presentations to impress executives while his team struggles with basic resources. A consultant in Boston focuses more on networking events than on delivering value to clients. A professor in Austin publishes papers in prestigious journals that no one reads instead of teaching students who desperately need guidance. In each case, the appearance of success overshadows actual contribution. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Recognition is addictive, but ultimately empty. That promotion you're chasing, that social media validation you're seeking, that industry award you're pursuing, even when you get them, they leave you hungry for more. Epictetus warned, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." The same applies to recognition. The more you need it, the less satisfied you'll be. Real impact, conversely, feeds the soul. A nurse in Phoenix who comforts a scared patient, a teacher in Detroit who helps a struggling student finally understand algebra, a small business owner in Portland who creates meaningful jobs. These people might never make headlines, but they sleep soundly knowing they've made a genuine difference. The Stoics offer a practical test. Would you still do this work if no one ever knew about it? Marcus Aurelius served Rome faithfully even while fighting on distant frontiers where no senators could see his efforts. He wrote, "What brings no benefit to the hive brings none to the bee. Focus on contributing to the common good, and personal satisfaction follows naturally." Consider how social media warps this principle. We curate our lives for maximum likes, sharing achievements but hiding struggles. A lawyer in Miami posts about winning a case but not about the pro bono work that actually fulfills her. A fitness trainer in Denver showcases client transformations but not the free community classes he teaches. We've become performers in our own lives, more concerned with the audience than the act. This doesn't mean rejecting all recognition or working in obscurity. Seneca enjoyed wealth and status but didn't depend on them for meaning. The key is priority. When recognition comes as a byproduct of impact, it's healthy. When impact becomes secondary to recognition, you've lost your way. Here's a practical exercise. List your current projects and goals. Next to each, honestly assess whether you're primarily motivated by recognition or impact. For those driven by recognition, ask yourself, how could I refocus this toward genuine contribution? You might discover that the most meaningful work you could do is also the least visible. The irony is profound. Those who chase recognition rarely achieve lasting fame, while those who focus on impact often become truly memorable. Marcus Aurelius never intended for anyone to read his private thoughts, yet his meditations have influenced millions for nearly 2,000 years. His impact came from authentic service, not calculated self-promotion. As we transition to exploring how to balance self-advocacy with service to others, remember that true success isn't measured in followers or accolades, but in lives touched and problems solved. The question isn't whether you'll be remembered, but whether you'll have lived a life worth living. 5. Can you stand up for yourself without being selfish? One of life's most delicate balancing acts presents itself in this question. Can you stand up for yourself without being selfish? Too many people fall into one extreme, either becoming doormats who never assert their needs, or turning into self-centered individuals who disregard others entirely. The Stoics mastered the middle path, showing us how to maintain self-respect while serving the common good. Seneca addressed this balance directly. Every new thing excites the mind, but a mind that seeks truth turns from the new to the old and finds peace in the knowledge that personal dignity and service to others are not opposites but partners. He understood that neglecting yourself doesn't help anyone, while focusing only on yourself helps no one. True wisdom lies in harmonizing personal boundaries with genuine compassion. Picture a software engineer in Seattle who consistently works weekends to fix others' mistakes. Her colleagues have learned they can slack off because she'll cover for them. She tells herself she's being helpful, but in reality, she's enabling poor performance while burning herself out. Is this noble service or self-destructive behavior disguised as virtue? The Stoics would say she's failing both herself and her team by not establishing healthy boundaries. Marcus Aurelius, despite his enormous responsibilities, understood personal limits. He wrote, "Be like the rocky headland on which the waves constantly break. It stands firm, and round it the seething waters are laid to rest." Standing firm doesn't mean being selfish. It means being stable enough to truly help others. You cannot pour from an empty cup, and you cannot guide others if you've lost your own way. Consider the opposite extreme. An executive in New York who ruthlessly pursues his goals, justifying every harsh decision as just business. He gets promoted but leaves a trail of damaged relationships and demoralized teams. He's confused self-advocacy with selfishness, strength with cruelty. Epictetus would remind him, "No one is free who is not master of himself, and mastery includes governing how we treat others." The key insight is that proper self-care enhances your ability to serve. A parent in Los Angeles who takes time for exercise and meditation isn't being selfish. She's ensuring she has the energy and patience to care for her children. A doctor in Houston who maintains strict boundaries about after-hours calls isn't abandoning patients. He's preserving his ability to provide quality care during working hours. Self-respect and service intertwine like a double helix, each strengthening the other. Modern culture confuses this principle constantly. We're told that saying no is selfish, that having boundaries is mean, that prioritizing our needs is wrong. Meanwhile, we're also bombarded with messages about putting yourself first and not caring what others think. Both extremes miss the Stoic wisdom. You must care for yourself in order to effectively care for others. Here's what this looks like practically. When your boss asks you to take on another project when you're already overwhelmed, standing up for yourself means clearly communicating your current capacity and negotiating priorities. It's not selfish to protect your ability to do quality work. When a friend repeatedly asks for favors but never reciprocates, setting boundaries isn't cruel. It's necessary for maintaining a healthy relationship. Seneca provides the framework. Associate with those who will make a better person of you. Welcome those whom you yourself can improve. The process is mutual, for people learn while they teach. Notice the reciprocity. Healthy relationships involve both giving and receiving, teaching and learning, supporting and being supported. The workplace offers daily tests of this balance. A manager in Chicago faces pressure to overwork her team to meet unrealistic deadlines. Standing up for her team's well-being isn't just moral, it's practical. Burned out employees produce poor work and eventually leave. By protecting her team's boundaries, She serves both their interests and the company's long-term success. Sometimes standing up for yourself requires difficult conversations. A nurse in Phoenix realizes she's been covering extra shifts to the point of exhaustion. Having an honest discussion with her supervisor about sustainable scheduling isn't abandoning patients. It's ensuring she can provide safe, compassionate care for years to come rather than burning out in months. The Stoics teach us to ask, does this action honor both my dignity and my duty to others? If you're constantly sacrificing your well-being, you're not practicing virtue, you're practicing self-destruction. If you're constantly prioritizing yourself over others, you're not practicing strength, you're practicing isolation. As we prepare to examine what we miss while worrying, remember that maintaining this balance requires constant attention. Like a tightrope walker who must continuously adjust to stay centered, we must regularly reassess whether we're honoring both our own needs and our responsibilities to others. 6. What are you missing while you worry? The sixth question reveals a hidden cost we rarely calculate. What are you missing while you worry? Every moment spent in anxiety is a moment stolen from joy, productivity, and presence. The Stoics understood that worry doesn't just feel bad. It actively robs us of life's opportunities. Marcus Aurelius, facing plagues, wars, and betrayals that would break most leaders, wrote, "Never let the future disturb you. You will meet it, if you have to, with the same weapons of reason which today arm you against the present." He recognized that worry accomplishes nothing except blinding us to what we could be doing right now. Imagine a financial analyst in Manhattan spending her entire subway commute anxiously checking market futures on her phone, mentally catastrophizing about potential losses. Meanwhile, she misses the chance to read that book on leadership she's been meaning to start, to practice meditation, or simply to rest before a demanding day. Her worry changes nothing about the markets but costs her 45 minutes of potential growth or peace. Seneca put it bluntly, "The mind that is anxious about future events is miserable." But he went deeper, explaining that anxiety creates a double suffering. We suffer in imagination about things that may never happen, and we suffer in reality by missing present opportunities. It's like paying interest on a debt you might never owe. Consider how worry manifests in modern life. A small business owner in Dallas lies awake at 3 a.m., cycling through worst-case scenarios about her company. While she tosses and turns, she's missing the restorative sleep that would actually help her make better decisions tomorrow. A father in Portland spends his daughter's soccer game distracted by work emails, missing her proud glance when she scores a goal. In both cases, worry about future problems destroys present treasures. The Stoics offer a powerful reframe. Worry is a choice, and like all choices, it has opportunity costs. Epictetus taught, "When I see an anxious person, I ask myself, what do they want? For if a person wasn't wanting something outside of their own control, why would they be anxious?" Every minute spent worrying is a minute not spent on something within your control that could actually improve your situation. Here's what makes this particularly cruel. The things we worry about rarely happen as we imagine. A marketing director in Atlanta spends weeks anxious about a presentation, imagining harsh criticism and career damage. When the day arrives, the meeting goes fine, not perfect, but fine. All that mental energy spent on imaginary disasters could have been invested in preparation, relationship building, or simply enjoying life. Modern technology amplifies worry's theft. Push notifications create micro-anxieties throughout our day. Social media shows us curated lives that make us anxious about our own. News apps deliver a constant stream of problems we can't solve. Each ping pulls us from the present moment into a future fear or past regret. We're so busy worrying about everything that we experience nothing. Marcus Aurelius offers an antidote. Confine yourself to the present. When you catch yourself spiraling into worry, ask immediately, what am I missing right now? Perhaps it's the taste of your morning coffee, ignored while you fret about afternoon meetings. Maybe it's your partner trying to connect while you're lost in work anxieties. Could be the solution to a problem that would be obvious if anxiety wasn't clouding your judgment. A therapist in San Francisco shares this technique with clients. When worry strikes, name 5 things you can experience with your senses right now. The warmth of sunlight, the sound of traffic, the smell of coffee, the feeling of your feet on the ground, the sight of clouds moving past your window. This isn't denial, it's reclaiming the present from anxiety's grip. The cost calculation is sobering. If you spend just 30 minutes daily in unnecessary worry, that's over 180 hours annually, more than a full work week, invested in mental suffering that produces nothing. Imagine redirecting that time toward learning, creating, connecting, or simply being at peace. What could you accomplish with an extra week each year? Seneca practiced evening reflection, but with a twist. I make use of this privilege and daily plead my case before myself. When the lamp is taken away and my wife has fallen silent, I examine the whole day and measure my actions and words. Notice he examines what happened, not what might happen. Reflection serves growth. Worry serves nothing. As we prepare to explore whether you're actually doing your job, remember that presence is productivity. The executive who worries through meetings misses key information. The parent who anxiously multitasks misses childhood moments that won't return. Worry promises to help us prepare for the future while actually stealing our ability to shape it. 7. Are you actually doing your job? Here's a question that cuts through all excuses and distractions. Are you actually doing your job? Not your colleague's job, not your boss's job, not the job you wish you had, but the actual responsibilities in front of you right now. The Stoics believed that fulfilling our roles with excellence forms the foundation of a meaningful life. Epictetus, who transitioned from slave to renowned teacher, declared, "No one is free who is not master of himself, and mastery begins with doing what is ours to do." He taught that we all play multiple roles: parent, professional, citizen, friend, and true wisdom means executing each role with full commitment, regardless of whether others are doing theirs. Picture an emergency room nurse in Miami who spends half her shift complaining about hospital management, inadequate staffing, and incompetent doctors. While she catalogs everyone else's failures, her own patients wait longer for care. She's so focused on problems outside her control that she's failing at the one thing entirely within it, providing excellent nursing care to the people right in front of her. Marcus Aurelius, despite ruling an empire in crisis, never used others' incompetence as an excuse for his own. He wrote, "What stands in the way becomes the way." When his generals failed, he didn't waste time lamenting. He adjusted his strategy. When the Senate obstructed him, he found alternative paths. He understood that doing your job excellently, especially when others aren't, is the highest form of leadership. The modern workplace creates endless temptations to avoid our actual job. A software developer in Austin spends hours in meetings discussing what other teams should do differently instead of writing code. A sales manager in Denver crafts elaborate emails about marketing's failures rather than coaching her team. A teacher in Philadelphia complains in the break room about administrative policies, while her lesson plans remain unfinished. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Focusing on others' jobs is often an elaborate form of procrastination. It feels productive to identify problems, create solutions for other departments, or discuss organizational failures. But Seneca warns, every man is in bondage to fear who depends upon the whims of fortune. When we make our performance contingent on others doing their jobs perfectly, we surrender our power to external circumstances. Consider a restaurant owner in Nashville whose business struggles. She could blame her chef's inconsistency, her server's attitudes, or her customer's fickleness. Or she could ask herself, am I creating clear systems? Am I providing proper training? Am I managing finances responsibly? Am I marketing effectively? The moment she stops focusing on others' performance and doubles down on her own responsibilities, the business begins to transform. Epictetus provides a practical framework. First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. If you would be an excellent teacher, then prepare engaging lessons regardless of budget constraints. If you would be a trustworthy accountant, then maintain impeccable records despite your firm's chaotic systems. If you would be a caring parent, then be present with your children even when exhausted from work. The remote work era has intensified this challenge. A project manager in Seattle, working from home, finds it easier than ever to appear busy while avoiding real work. She schedules unnecessary meetings, creates elaborate status reports, and engages in digital presenteeism, all while her core projects languish. She's performing the appearance of work rather than doing the work itself. Marcus Aurelius offers a sobering reminder. At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being. Notice he doesn't say, I have to go pretend to work, or I have to go complain about work. The emphasis is on actual contribution, on fulfilling the human obligation to add value to our community. Here's a practical exercise. Write down your actual job responsibilities, not your complaints, wishes, or opinions about how things should be different, but what you're actually supposed to do. Rate yourself honestly on each responsibility. Where you're falling short, resist the temptation to blame circumstances. Instead, ask, what one thing could I do today to better fulfill this role? The paradox is powerful. When everyone focuses on their own job instead of critiquing others, the entire system improves. A hospital where each professional masters their own role delivers better care than one where everyone has opinions about everyone else's performance but neglects their own. As we prepare to explore what's most important in your life, remember that excellence in our roles, however humble, builds the foundation for everything else. You cannot lead others until you've mastered leading yourself, and that mastery begins with the simple daily discipline of doing your actual job. 8. What's the most important thing in your life? This question demands brutal honesty. What's the most important thing in your life? Not what you tell others, not what sounds noble, but what your actions actually reveal as your highest priority. The Stoics understood that without clarity on this fundamental question, We drift through life making decisions that contradict our supposed values. Seneca wrote, "Every journey has a destination, whether the traveler knows it or not." The tragedy is that most people arrive at destinations they never consciously chose, wondering how they ended up so far from where they wanted to be. They claim family is most important while working 80-hour weeks. They say health matters most while destroying their bodies with stress and neglect. They insist meaning trumps money while chasing every promotion. Consider a corporate lawyer in Chicago who insists her children are her top priority. Yet she misses most dinners, arrives home after bedtime, and spends weekends catching up on briefs. When her daughter's school play conflicts with a client meeting, the meeting wins. Her calendar reveals the truth her words deny. Career success is actually her highest value. There's nothing inherently wrong with prioritizing career. The problem is the self-deception that prevents intentional choices. Marcus Aurelius faced this challenge while ruling Rome. He could have justified any priority, expanding the empire, accumulating wealth, enjoying pleasures. Instead, he wrote, "If you seek tranquility, do less." Or more accurately, do what's essential. He identified wisdom and virtue as paramount, then aligned every decision with these values. When offered the chance to extend military campaigns for glory, he chose peace. When tempted by court luxuries, he maintained simplicity. The modern world makes this clarity especially difficult. An entrepreneur in San Francisco claims innovation is his highest value, but spends most of his time in investor meetings chasing funding. A teacher in Boston says student development matters most, but focuses primarily on test scores that determine her evaluation. A fitness influencer in Los Angeles preaches health while secretly battling eating disorders triggered by maintaining an impossible image. Here's the test. Look at your calendar and bank statements from the last month. Where did your time and money actually go? If someone analyzed these documents without knowing you, what would they conclude matters most to you? This objective evidence often contradicts our stated values dramatically. Epictetus taught, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." This principle extends beyond material goods. When you know what's truly important, you need fewer things, commitments, and validations. A mother in Phoenix who genuinely prioritizes family connection doesn't need to compete with other parents about activities and achievements. A craftsman in Portland who values mastery over money doesn't chase every lucrative opportunity that would compromise his standards. The cost of unclear priorities is devastating. A marketing executive in Atlanta reaches 50 having achieved everything except what matters to her. She has the title, salary, and recognition she thought she wanted, but her marriage ended, her health deteriorated, and her children barely know her. She succeeded at climbing a ladder leaning against the wrong wall. Seneca provides a framework for clarity. Let all your efforts be directed to something. Let it keep that end in mind. But first, you must identify that end. Is it family harmony, creative expression, financial security, service to others, spiritual growth, professional excellence? There's no universally correct answer, but there must be your answer. Once clear, this priority becomes your decision filter. A consultant in Houston who determines family connection is paramount starts declining travel-heavy projects. It costs him income but gains him irreplaceable moments with his children. An artist in Brooklyn who identifies creative authenticity as essential stops taking commercial work that pays well but crushes her soul. These aren't sacrifices, they're investments in what actually matters. The Stoics warn against letting society determine your priorities. Marcus Aurelius observed, "How much trouble he avoids who does not look to see what his neighbor says or does." Your coworker's priority might be wealth accumulation. Your friends might be social status. Your parents might be security. None of these need be yours. The courage to choose your own highest value, despite external pressure, defines authentic living. Here's your assignment. Write down what you claim is most important. Then track your time for a week in 15-minute increments. Calculate what percentage actually aligns with your stated priority. If the gap is large, you face a choice. Either admit your real priority is different than you thought, or restructure your life to match your stated values. As we prepare to explore who you're really serving, remember that knowing your highest priority transforms every other decision. When you're clear on what matters most, choices that perplex others become obvious to you. 9. Who are you really serving? The 9th question invites deep reflection. Who are you really serving? This inquiry cuts to the core of our motivations, actions, and the impact we have on the world around us. In a society often driven by self-interest and personal ambition, the Stoics provide a powerful reminder that true fulfillment comes from understanding our responsibilities toward others and the broader community. Marcus Aurelius emphasized the importance of service, writing, "What is not good for the beehive cannot be good for the bee." This metaphor illustrates that our lives are interconnected, and we thrive when we contribute to the well-being of those around us. We do not exist in isolation. Our actions ripple through our families, workplaces, and communities. Consider a project manager in San Diego who has spent years climbing the corporate ladder. She prides herself on her achievements, accolades, and promotions. Yet, when she reflects on her daily work, she realizes much of it revolves around her own recognition rather than genuinely serving her team or clients. Her focus has been on personal gain rather than fostering a supportive environment where others can thrive. In the end, her success feels hollow because it lacks meaningful contribution. Seneca warns, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." This craving often manifests in our professional lives. When we prioritize our ambitions without considering the impact on others, we risk becoming self-serving. True wealth comes from contributing positively to the lives of others, whether through mentorship, collaboration, or kindness. Now, let's examine the role of empathy in this equation. A teacher in New York City might spend her days preparing lesson plans and grading papers. But if she fails to connect with her students, she is not serving them effectively. When she takes the time to understand their struggles, aspirations, and backgrounds, she transforms her role from mere educator to impactful mentor. This shift can inspire students to thrive academically and personally, creating a ripple effect of positive change. We must ask ourselves, are we prioritizing our own interests, or are we genuinely invested in the well-being of those we interact with? A healthcare worker in a busy clinic may feel overwhelmed by their workload, but if they focus solely on completing tasks, they miss the opportunity to connect with patients. A simple act of listening and showing compassion can make a world of difference, turning a routine appointment into a meaningful experience for someone in need. In the realm of business, the question of who we serve can be particularly revealing. A startup founder in Austin might create a product aimed at solving a specific problem. However, if that founder is primarily motivated by profit rather than genuinely helping customers, the venture risks becoming another fleeting trend rather than a lasting solution. When businesses prioritize their clients' needs and experience, they create loyal customers and foster a positive reputation. The Stoics remind us that self-reflection is key to understanding our true purpose. Epictetus taught, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This principle urges us to consider our reactions in various situations. Are we acting out of self-interest or genuine concern for others? When we prioritize our own comfort or advancement over the needs of those around us, we create a disconnect that can lead to dissatisfaction and a sense of emptiness. To explore this further, take a moment to think about your daily interactions. Who do you serve in your life? Is it your family, friends, colleagues, or a larger community? Write down the roles you play and evaluate how you fulfill those roles. Are you actively contributing to the well-being of those you serve, or are you simply going through the motions? This exercise will help illuminate areas where you can improve your focus on service. Perhaps you realize that while you invest time in your career, you neglect your relationships. Or maybe you find that you prioritize social validation over the genuine connections that bring you joy. As we conclude this section, consider what it means to serve authentically. True service is not about sacrifice. It's about creating a cycle of support and mutual growth. When we elevate others, we elevate ourselves. As Marcus Aurelius stated, "What is good for the hive is good for the bee." When we understand who we are serving, we gain clarity on our purpose and direction. This awareness transforms our actions, allowing us to build meaningful relationships and contribute positively to the world. As we prepare to dive into the next question, which challenges us to evaluate what really matters, remember that service to others enriches our lives while reinforcing our values and priorities. 10. Does this really matter? As we navigate the complexities of modern life, one question emerges as crucial. Does this really matter? This inquiry compels us to evaluate our actions, commitments, and emotional investments, challenging us to discern what holds true significance in our lives. The Stoics understood that many concerns we entertain are trivial, while the truly important aspects often go overlooked. Marcus Aurelius famously advised, "Ask yourself in every moment, is this essential?" This simple yet profound directive urges us to filter our thoughts and actions through the lens of essentiality. In a world filled with distractions and noise, it's easy to get caught up in trivial matters and lose sight of what genuinely contributes to our well-being and purpose. Consider the daily barrage of information we face. A young professional in New York City wakes up to a flood of emails, social media notifications, and news alerts. As she scrolls through her phone, she finds herself overwhelmed by the latest celebrity gossip, political outrage, and workplace drama. By the time she leaves for work, she's already mentally drained, having invested energy in things that ultimately don't contribute to her happiness or goals. The Stoics remind us that much of what we worry about, from social media likes to office politics, is fleeting and inconsequential. Seneca stated, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." This insight reveals that our anxieties often stem from imagined scenarios rather than actual problems. By focusing on what truly matters, we can free ourselves from unnecessary mental burdens. To illustrate this, think about the pressures of modern life. A student in Los Angeles pressures herself to achieve perfect grades, believing that academic success will define her future. While education is valuable, she becomes so fixated on grades that she neglects her mental health, relationships, and personal interests. The relentless pursuit of perfection blinds her to the experiences that matter: learning, growth, and connection. As we consider what really matters, it's essential to recognize that our values shape our priorities. A father in Chicago might prioritize his job, believing that financial stability is paramount. However, his long hours lead to missed family events, and he begins to question whether the sacrifices are worth it. When he reflects on this question, he realizes that his children's happiness and well-being should take precedence over climbing the corporate ladder. The Stoics encourage us to regularly assess our priorities. A practical way to do this is through reflection. Each evening, take a moment to ask yourself, what did I do today that truly mattered? Did I invest time in activities that align with my values? Did I nurture relationships that bring me joy? This practice helps you gain clarity on what is essential and encourages you to focus on actions that align with your true purpose. Another aspect to consider is the impact of societal expectations. We often find ourselves gravitating toward pursuits that society deems valuable, such as wealth, status, or public recognition. However, these external markers of success can distract us from what genuinely fulfills us. A successful entrepreneur may feel pressured to maintain an image of constant productivity and achievement, losing sight of the passion that initially drove them to start their business. Epictetus taught, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This principle applies directly to our assessment of what matters. When faced with challenges, we can choose to focus on solutions, learning, and growth instead of dwelling on setbacks. By doing so, we redirect our energy toward what enhances our lives rather than what drains us. As we explore this question, consider the impact of your choices on your future. Are you investing your time and energy in pursuits that will yield long-term fulfillment? A teacher in Boston who prioritizes student engagement and learning over standardized testing scores creates an enriching environment that fosters genuine growth. In contrast, a teacher who solely focuses on meeting metrics may miss the opportunity to inspire and connect with students. Ultimately, the question of whether something matters leads us to a deeper understanding of ourselves. It encourages us to define our values clearly and align our actions with those values. A real estate agent in Miami who prioritizes community engagement by volunteering to help homeless families is likely to find more fulfillment than one who focuses solely on closing deals. When we align our daily actions with our core beliefs, we cultivate a sense of purpose that transcends the superficial. As we prepare to explore the next essential question, which asks whether this is a lifetime or dead time, keep in mind that clarity about what truly matters empowers us to live more intentionally. By focusing on the essential, we not only enhance our personal lives but also contribute positively to the lives of those around us. 11. Is this dead time or a lifetime? As we delve into the 11th question, we confront a critical evaluation of how we spend our days. Is this dead time or a lifetime? This question challenges us to assess how we utilize our moments and whether we're actively engaging in life or passively letting time slip away. The Stoics understood that life is finite, and how we choose to fill our time shapes our experiences and our legacy. Seneca poignantly remarked, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." This insight reveals a profound truth. It's not the quantity of time we have, but how we use it that determines the quality of our lives. In a fast-paced world filled with distractions, we often find ourselves caught in what can only be described as dead time. Moments where we are physically present but mentally absent. Imagine a young professional in San Francisco who spends her commute scrolling through social media. While she is technically traveling to work, she is not engaging with her surroundings, not reflecting on her goals, and not preparing for the day ahead. Instead, she's absorbing a barrage of information that does little to enrich her life or foster personal growth. By the time she arrives at the office, she feels drained and unprepared, having wasted valuable moments that could have been used for reflection or inspiration. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." This powerful reminder urges us to consider the impermanence of life. If we truly grasped how fleeting our time is, we would prioritize activities that bring us joy, growth, and connection. By asking ourselves whether our current moment is a live time, filled with intention and engagement, or dead time, marked by passivity and distraction, we open the door to living more fully. Consider a father in Chicago who spends his evenings watching TV while his children play nearby. He's physically present, but mentally detached. What could be a vibrant time of connection and laughter is reduced to mere existence. Alternatively, if he engages with his children during this time, reading stories, playing games, or simply asking about their day, he transforms those moments into a live time, fostering deeper bonds and creating lasting memories. The modern world bombards us with distractions that often lead to dead time. Notifications from our phones, binge-watching shows, and mindless scrolling can consume hours, leaving us feeling depleted rather than rejuvenated. A fitness enthusiast in New York might spend her lunch hour watching workout videos instead of actually exercising. While she thinks she's investing time in her health, she's actually letting valuable moments slip away without real engagement. Here's a practical exercise. Track your time for a week. Create a simple log of how you spend each hour. At the end of the week, categorize your activities as alive time or dead time. You might discover that a significant portion of your day is spent in dead time moments where you're not actively engaging with life, your goals, or your relationships. This awareness can be a powerful motivator for change. Transforming dead time into a live time doesn't require monumental changes. Can be as simple as shifting your mindset. A student in Austin who spends hours procrastinating on assignments can reframe this time by breaking tasks into smaller, manageable pieces. Instead of feeling overwhelmed, she can focus on completing one section, turning what felt like dead time into productive engagement. Marcus Aurelius also emphasized the importance of purpose in our daily activities. He wrote, "What stands in the way becomes the way." When we approach challenges with intention, they become opportunities for growth and learning. A software engineer facing a complex project might feel daunted, viewing the task as dead time spent struggling. Yet, by reframing the challenge as a chance to learn and innovate, she transforms the experience into a live time, fostering both professional and personal development. Another aspect to consider is the quality of our interactions. A manager in a corporate office might spend her time in meetings that feel unproductive and draining. However, if she shifts her focus to fostering genuine conversations, encouraging collaboration, and creating connections, those meetings transform from dead time into alive time. The energy and creativity that emerge from engaged discussions can lead to innovative solutions and a more vibrant workplace culture. As we prepare to transition to the final question, which asks if this is who you want to become, remember that the question of alive versus dead time is a continuous journey. It requires constant reflection and adjustment. The Stoics invite us to evaluate our daily activities, ensuring we are not merely existing but truly living. Choose to reclaim your time from distractions and trivial pursuits. Make deliberate choices that align with your values and aspirations. By doing so, you will cultivate a life rich with meaning, connection, and fulfillment, transforming every moment into a lifetime. 12. Is this who you want to become? As we arrive at our final question, it's time for deep introspection. Is this who you want to become? This question challenges us to reflect on our current actions and choices, assessing whether they align with the vision we have for our future selves. The Stoics believed that self-examination is essential for personal growth, and this inquiry is a crucial part of that process. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, frequently engaged in self-reflection. He wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." This insight underscores the importance of aligning our thoughts and actions with our desired identity. If we want to become wise, compassionate, and resilient individuals, we must consciously cultivate those qualities through our daily choices. Consider a young professional in Boston who aspires to be a leader in her field. She envisions herself as someone who inspires others, fosters collaboration, and contributes positively to her community. However, when she looks at her daily behaviors, she notices that she often engages in gossip about her colleagues, avoids taking responsibility for her mistakes, and prioritizes personal gain over team success. The gap between who she wants to be and who she currently is creates internal conflict and dissatisfaction. The Stoics teach us that our character is shaped by our actions. Seneca advised, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more in imagination than in reality." This means that the fear of becoming someone we don't want to be can paralyze us, preventing us from taking the necessary steps toward our desired identity. Instead of succumbing to fear, we must confront it with courage and clarity. A practical exercise to explore this question involves creating two lists. On one side, write down the qualities and characteristics you admire in others and wish to embody yourself. This may include traits like integrity, kindness, resilience, or creativity. On the other side, reflect on your current behaviors and habits. Are they aligned with the person you aspire to be? If not, identify specific actions you can take to bridge the gap. For instance, if you admire someone who demonstrates great empathy but find yourself often dismissive or critical, consider how you can practice active listening and compassion in your interactions. If you aspire to be a more confident communicator but frequently shy away from sharing your ideas, set small goals to speak up in meetings or contribute to discussions. The journey of self-discovery requires humility and honesty. Epictetus famously stated, "Know first who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly." This means understanding your strengths and weaknesses, acknowledging areas for growth, and taking intentional steps to develop the qualities you desire. Moreover, We must remember that becoming the person we want to be is not a one-time achievement but an ongoing process. Each day presents a new opportunity for growth and self-improvement. A father in Seattle who wants to be a role model for his children can start by showing them the importance of integrity in small daily choices, such as being honest about mistakes or treating others with respect. These actions reinforce the identity he seeks to cultivate. It's also essential to recognize the influence of our environment on who we become. Surrounding ourselves with individuals who embody the qualities we aspire to can inspire and motivate us to grow. A young athlete in Los Angeles who wants to become a champion can benefit from training with coaches and teammates who push her to excel, providing support and accountability along the way. As we reflect on this question, consider the impact of social media and societal pressures. We often find ourselves comparing our lives to curated versions of others' realities, leading to feelings of inadequacy and self-doubt. This comparison can distract us from our true aspirations and values. Instead, focus on your unique journey and the qualities that resonate with your authentic self. Ultimately, the question, "Is this who you want to become?" serves as a compass for our actions and decisions. When faced with challenges, remind yourself of the person you aspire to be. Let that vision guide your choices, shaping your character and actions in alignment with your values. As we conclude our exploration of these 12 Stoic questions, remember that self-examination is a lifelong practice. The Stoics provide us with powerful tools for reflection and growth. By consciously engaging with these questions, we cultivate a deeper understanding of ourselves and our purpose, allowing us to navigate life with intention and clarity. As we conclude our journey through the Stoic questions, we arrive at a profound inquiry. What is the meaning of life? This question has puzzled humanity for centuries, but Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher and Roman emperor, offers timeless insights that can guide us in our search for purpose. Aurelius believed that the meaning of life is not a singular, grand revelation, but something we create through our actions and choices. He wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." This suggests that meaning is a product of how we think about our experiences and the values we choose to uphold. In essence, life's meaning is not found externally. It is cultivated internally through our daily actions. In practice, this means that we have the power to define our purpose with each decision we make. A teacher in a small town, for example, might find meaning in her work by fostering a love of learning in her students, knowing that she is shaping future generations. Every lesson she teaches and every moment she spends listening to her students contributes to a greater purpose. By aligning her actions with her values, she creates a life rich in meaning. Marcus Aurelius faced immense challenges during his reign, including wars and plagues. Yet, he remained focused on his duty as a leader and a human being. He understood that life's meaning often arises from our commitment to others and our ability to act virtuously, even in difficult circumstances. In his meditations, he consistently reminded himself to live in accordance with nature and to fulfill his role to the best of his ability. This sense of duty and responsibility can be a powerful source of meaning in our own lives. The Stoic approach to meaning encourages us to engage with the present moment fully. Often, we become so consumed by future worries or past regrets that we overlook the significance of the here and now. A busy professional in New York City might find herself rushing from meeting to meeting, constantly checking her phone for updates, and failing to appreciate the beauty of a sunset as she commutes home. By practicing mindfulness and focusing on the present, she can uncover meaning in the small moments that make up her life. Finding purpose in everyday life also requires us to reflect on what truly matters to us. A father in Chicago might spend his evenings working late, believing he's providing for his family. However, if he takes the time to consider his values, he may realize that spending quality time with his children is what brings him true fulfillment. By consciously choosing to prioritize family dinners over late meetings, he begins to create a life filled with meaning. Furthermore, Aurelius teaches us that our interactions with others can be a source of profound meaning. He often reflected on the interconnectedness of all people, recognizing that our actions impact those around us. A healthcare worker in Phoenix, for instance, can find purpose in her role by treating each patient with compassion and understanding, recognizing that she plays a vital role in their lives during vulnerable moments. This commitment to serving others not only enriches her life, but also creates a ripple effect of kindness and support in her community. Ultimately, the meaning of life is not a destination but a journey. It is shaped by our choices, actions, and relationships. By aligning our everyday decisions with our core values and focusing on the present, we can cultivate a life rich in purpose. The Stoics remind us that we have the power to create meaning in our lives through our thoughts and deeds. As we reflect on Marcus Aurelius's wisdom, let us embrace the idea that life's meaning is not something to be discovered, but something to be actively created. Each day offers us the opportunity to live with intention, to serve others, and to find purpose in even the simplest moments. By doing so, we can navigate the complexities of life with clarity and fulfillment, ultimately crafting a life that resonates with true meaning. As we conclude our exploration of the 12 transformative questions inspired by Stoic philosophy, it's essential to reflect on the journey we've taken together. Each question serves as a powerful tool, prompting deep self-examination and guiding us toward a more intentional life. The central themes of control, purpose, service, and meaning resonate throughout, offering timeless wisdom for our modern context. The Stoics remind us that life is fleeting. Marcus Aurelius stated, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." This perspective encourages us to live with urgency, recognizing that our time is limited. Each moment is an opportunity to align our actions with our values and aspirations. Consider how each question we explored can serve as a compass for your daily choices. Who are you spending time with? Are these relationships enriching your life? Reflect on the people around you and choose to cultivate relationships that inspire growth and positivity. Next, think about what is truly within your control. The dichotomy of control teaches us to focus our energy on what we can influence and to let go of what we cannot. This mindset frees you from unnecessary stress, allowing you to channel your efforts into meaningful actions. As you reflect on your ideal day, take the time to design a life that aligns with your values. What does your perfect day look like? By setting clear intentions, you create a roadmap for your life. This intentionality transforms ordinary moments into extraordinary experiences, making each day a step toward the person you aspire to become. In your pursuit of success, remember to prioritize impact over recognition. True fulfillment comes from contributing to the well-being of others. Seek opportunities to serve and uplift those around you, as the joy from genuine service far outweighs fleeting accolades. As we wrap up, I invite you to take these Stoic principles and weave them into your daily life. If you found value in these lessons, please consider subscribing to the Stoic Vivu channel. Join our community of like-minded individuals committed to living intentionally and exploring the depths of Stoic wisdom. Don't forget to like this video and share it with friends who could benefit from this transformative journey. Your Stoic transformation starts today. Seize the opportunity to create a life that reflects your true values and aspirations. Thank you for being part of this journey, and I look forward to exploring more Stoic wisdom with you in the future.